welcome to my channel. My name is Desiree, but I go by Des or Desi. And today I'm going to be reviewing The Chi Season 6, Episode 1. I am really excited that the season is back. I don't even remember when Season 5 came out, but I feel like it's been forever. So I'm super excited to be reviewing this show. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to see what's gonna happen this season. The other seasons, not gonna lie, they were a little shaky, but I'm hoping this season will be really good. And I know this season we're gonna get more episodes, so I am even more excited about that. So first I'm going to get started with Keisha. Okay, so as we started the episode, Keisha was, having sex with Emmett. They were trying, or should I say, not really. And you can kind of sense that there was some tension going on in this scene and just throughout the episode, really, with them. So I kind of felt for her on that. It was a really big difference from the previous season, how we ended with them last season, and them being super connected, and it was all puppy love and them all over each other. And this kind of reminds me of when Tiff and Emmett were together, and how they were kind of up and down, and for a second there was Keisha was just kind of she wanted Emmett, but then now she has Emmett. It's just not, I guess, maybe what she was expecting, especially since now Doodah's in the picture. And yeah, and as you know, in the opening scene, we have Keisha. She has a job interview, and that her and Emmett are discussing because, they're talking about parenting and cooking breakfast for the kids, or just doing something really quick. And she's just hey, no, I can't do it. I have a job interview to go to, which is awesome for her. And then Emmett's I'm pressed for time too, because he has the grand reopening of Smokies. So ultimately, in the end, Emmett ends up, doing breakfast for the kids. So yeah, eventually, in the episode, we do see Keisha get to her interview, but she's late, and she, begins to explain herself. But the teacher, she doesn't really care. She's not really, doesn't want to hear it. So she kind of gives her, a bit of a warning on her needing to show up on time in the future. That's if she gets the job. And then we have, her during, like I said, the interview and in the classroom. There's a bit of a scene with a student named Messiah and the teacher, where the teacher asks him to read aloud in the class, and he decides not to. And so the teacher kind of puts him by himself and has the class read, amongst each other. And Keisha isn't really for that, so she kind of questions the teacher, and the teacher does not like that. She kind of questions whether or not Keisha is fit for the job, which she was a bit hard on Keisha. So I'm hoping that that relationship kind of gets better, but we'll see. So yeah. We also, in this episode, eventually, Keisha does go to Smokies to tell Emmett that she did end up getting the teacher position, which is awesome and amazing for her, because, in previous seasons, her life was really rough, especially with being taken and then having little Ronnie and just various issues that she was dealing with. So it's nice to see her character progress, and even though she wanted to go off to college and run track, and have that scholarship and everything, it's nice to see that her life can still pick up and go in a different direction with her being a teacher. So I think that was really awesome. But like I said, she gets to Smokies, and she's, prior to her even telling Emmett that, she got the position, pretty much throughout this whole episode, as you know, we see Duda and Nuck and Bakari and whoever else with the crew. And so when she gets there, she kind of has this stare down with Nuck, which to me, I'm like, awkward, because, you know, like, they have a past, kinda, and, this is who Emma is hanging around now, so it's just, like, not that good, and it's kind of uncomfortable for her, especially because she can't stand any of them, so it's just, like, yeah. And then also in this episode with Keisha, her and Emmett kind of get into a disagreement because Emmett, which I will touch on later, buys Tiff a car, and they didn't even discuss it. So I am a little concerned with Emmett and Keisha's relationship this season, not gonna lie. Especially with Emmett being so, I guess, easily persuaded by Duda and his gifts, or his investments, I should say. So that makes me just a little bit nervous for Emmett and Keisha, because I don't know, I feel like they came so far, and I would just hate to see Emmett's decisions and Duda's involvement be a reason that these two don't work out. And we saw a lot of different, like, ups and downs with the couples, some of the couples, this episode, so yeah. And since I'm on Keisha, I'm gonna jump right over to Emmett. Emmett, oh my gosh, I probably could go on for such a long time about Emmett, but I'm gonna try to keep it brief, short, and concise. Okay, so in this episode, we have Emmett, you know, as I stated earlier, getting into it with Keisha, earlier that morning, and then, you know, leaving the house, and as he's walking, who is already waiting outside for him? Duda and Nuck and Bakari in the backseat of the SUV, just sitting there, waiting, and Emmett's just looking like, hey, like, what's up? And, you know, Duda is like, where are you going? And he's just basically like, hey, I got the grand reopening. You know, I gotta go. I'm trying to be, like, you know, punctual, on time, this and that. And basically, Duda's like, yeah, it can wait. They're on your time. They're waiting for you to get in the truck. And so basically Nuck was just looking at him like, he said, like, you know, get in the truck. It's not questionable. We're telling you to get in the truck, you know, come with us. And so, mind you, in the scene, I was just kind of looking at Bakari like, this is just not the right path for you. I'm so mad at Bakari, because I'm like, this is just not, like, the right path for you. I'll get to that eventually. Like, a lot of people made me so nervous for this season, for their character. Like, it's unbelievable. But anyways, Emmett does end up getting in the truck because it's non-negotiable, and they end up going to pick out a suit for him. So basically, you know, Duda gets him a new suit. He makes him look fresh and clean and different, you know. Nice. And so, while they're there, you know, Duda and Nuck are talking, and Nuck, he's just basically like, I like how my suit fits. Duda's like, nah, it's not the right fit. Nuck ends up handing Emmett his gun to hold. And in that moment, you could see on Emmett's face, which you can also see throughout the episode when he's amongst this group of guys, that he's really out of place. Like, he is way over his head, and he'll realize that later in the episode when a situation happens. I believe it's at, like, Duda's lounge, or, like, hangout spot. Looks like a bar / lounge. Emmett is way over his head. And I'm kind of mad, because I'm like, Emmett, you were raised by Jada, who's amazing, and then you have Darnell, like, he came in your life later, like, he came back or whatever, you guys reconnected. Why? Like, I don't know. A piece of me is just hoping like Darnell could speak to Emmett and just kind of reel him back in, because he's not listening to Keisha when it comes to Doodah. Like, he's just like, what? Business is great. I'm doing great. Everything's fine. And I'm like, I'm gonna need Darnell or somebody else to just kind of bring it back home for Emmett and reel it in for him, and hopefully before it gets too late, in my opinion, because anyways. So then you have the grand reopening at Smokey's, which is going great for Emmett, and of course the guys are there, the group, and Doodah kind of pulls Emmett to the side and just, they have a conversation. And he lets him know, hey, check your bank account. And Emmett checks it, and we don't really get to see how much is in there, but I'm pretty sure it's a pretty big lump sum of money. And Emmett's just like, whoa, oh my gosh. And, Doodah's just basically stating hey, that's just from our New York location. It's nothing, it's the New York Smokies that we opened, so, business is good. This is awesome for us. Everything is going good, keep it up. And then, basically Doodah leaves, and as I stated earlier, Keisha ends up coming to Smokies to, tell Emmett that she got the teacher position. And they kind of, have this discussion where she basically explains to Emmett, okay, where'd you get the money? And then he's the New York location. And we learned that they've never been to the New York location. So it's just kind of okay. We'll put a pin in that. Hopefully it's an actual thing and not just some kind of underhanded something going on with Doodah. But of course, Emmett, takes Doodah's word of mouth, and whatever he says is just okay, because he's not going to check Doodah or, second guess whatever he's doing. And so basically, while they're there, I meant to mention that before Doodah leaves, Emmett basically talks too much. He tells Doodah that Tiff wants a car. And so he's just yeah, Tiff wants a car. And Emmett, and then Doodah is basically it's your responsibility to get her one, so get her one. And, Keisha, when she walks into Smokey, she overhears that. And so she's just kind of looking at them what's going on? What are you guys talking about? Kind of thing. And then, yeah. So eventually, they do have that conversation later, Emmett and Doodah, because again, Emmett talks too much. He does not keep anything to himself that needs to be kept to himself. He basically ends up buying the car for Tiff. I think it's a Nissan Altima. He buys brand new, fresh off the lot for Tiff, delivers it himself, and, he basically tells Doodah, hey, I bought her the car, but it pissed off Keisha, and she's not too happy. And then Doodah goes on about how he has 3 women, and, he has to make them happy, and so, do whatever you have to do, but, it is what it is. And I'm just irritated because I'm Doodah is playing you. And I'm not going to say breadcrumbing or love bombing, because he's not love bombing, but he's just he's got him hooked. He has Emmett hooked, and it's just sad. Like I said, right now I'm really concerned about Emmett. He's at the top of my list of okay, what's going to happen this season? Is he going to go? Because I'm Emmett, you were around Brandon early on. Did you not learn anything? Did you not say, how the heck did Brandon die? Do we know how Brandon died? We do, but as far as Emmett and them, I can't remember. But it's just you were around Brandon, and Brandon made some questionable decisions and got mixed up with the wrong people. And I don't know if Emmett knows that was Doodah, but was I think he knew of Quincy, because of Smokey and stuff, because I think that was like his brother or whatever, but like, how did we not know about Doodah? It just, I feel like everybody knows about Doodah. It's just so, Okay, so now I'm going to get into Victor and Fatima. I'm really happy to see that they're still going strong. They had, a great moment, and I feel for Victor because he's so nervous about the election, and Fatima's just like, you're gonna be fine, win or lose, you're still gonna do like great things in life, and everything's gonna be okay, which is what Victor needs, because in previous seasons he's been through a lot, and it's nice to see that he has someone by his side to support him, and Fatima does an amazing job with that. The only thing is that, as stated in previous seasons, he had that little run-in with Bakari. It's always Bakari. Bakari. He had that run-in with Bakari, and basically, because of him, I think he, punched Bakari or whatever, and that was recorded. He needs something to clean up his image, go viral, have his little viral moment. And so, yeah, that's just, the one thing standing in his way. And, besides that, he's really concerned with Fatima as far as, he wants them to go public, and she's just not right now. It's not really a good time. And she just kind of lets Victor, aka previously known as Trick, Trick, have his moment. So yeah, she lets Victor have his moment. He does end up winning the election, which is amazing because he's worked so hard, him and Quincy, and she does in the end come and congratulate him. So that was something that was really positive this episode, which was so much needed because some of the couples were really going through it. And segue into couples that were kind of going through it, but they're not really a couple. I don't even know what they are. I don't even think they know what they are. I think Gemma is still trying to figure out what they are, and that is Marcus and Tiara. One thing I feel like I should have done was watched the season before this season, so season 5, because I'm trying to figure out when did Marcus and Tiara have time to have something going on. When did this happen? How did this happen? I'm confused. Seriously, I'm that was a little bit unexpected. When I watched the episode, I was like, what? I did laugh because, Gemma could hear them, and nobody wants to hear their parents having sex. It's just my ears are bleeding. No, I know obviously how did I get here, but no. And not even their parents, because Tiara's not her mom, but still, it's just nobody wants to hear their parent or parents, plural, no. You don't want to catch them. You don't want to see, you don't want to hear it. You just pretend it doesn't happen. Yeah, you're here, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just you're traumatized. You're traumatized. If you hear it, you see it, you barge in by accident. Moving on. Because, eventually Gemma does end up seeing Tiara leaving the house, which made me laugh because, again, I can't remember which season that was when Marcus catches Kevin leaving their house when Gemma and Kevin were together, and he catches him on camera, and so Kevin tries to pretend like he just arrived at the house, and stuff like that. And then, that's when I think they first started dating, Gemma and Kevin, when they were dating. And I believe Marcus ended up inviting Kevin inside. So I did kind of laugh at that because I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. That's ironic, kind of. So eventually, Marcus basically, visits Tiara at work and, explains to her, oh, crap, Gemma confronted me, she heard us, and, he kind of felt bad. And Tiara basically is like, well, she had a pregnancy scare. She knows what sex is. She'll be okay. And he's basically just like, okay, well, maybe we just need to have a sit down. And of course, during that sit down, they cannot see eye to eye. And I don't know. I don't want to say like Tiara reminds me of like an older version of what I thought or I think Gemma would be like. So maybe that's why they can't see eye to eye. Because they both kind of seemed a little bit similar to me. Kinda. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments. But that's how I kind of feel like, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Sorta, kinda. So, yeah. Alright, so now moving on, we have Rob and Tiff. I still love them. I think they're a really cute couple as well. Okay, so we're gonna just talk about Rob real quick. Poor Rob. No, Rob has a sit down with Judah, like a little business meeting. And I love Rob because he's so like about business. And that's it. He's like straight to the point. And you can kind of see Judah get a little bit annoyed with that. Like, chill out, like, calm down, like, relax. We'll get to that. But no, Rob does not cut any corners. You know, if it's not about, you know, business, what is there to discuss? Because Judah tried to get under his skin by mentioning Emmett and the fact that he does business with Emmett as well. And Rob is just like, I don't care about that. I do not care. Yes, you know, I'm with his baby mom. You know, they're together. They live together. But they don't have nothing to do with Rob. Like, Rob's like, what that got to do with me? And I'm like, you know what, Rob? Here, that's right. Like, what does it have to do with you? Honestly, like he said, he don't care about Emma. He don't care about anybody else that Judah has to mention. So, eventually, you can kind of sense, like, even ever since, you know, their whole scene came on, there was some tension. Like I said, Rob is really about business, and he's super focused and stuff, and Judah is just always pushing. So he mentions Rob's Uncle Quincy. And I was just whole time like side, like bombastic side eye, because I'm like, hold up. Do not killed Rob's Uncle Quincy. Okay? So the nerve of him to be like, probably. Because, you know, I think Rob still doesn't know that, and they were just talking about how, like, Quincy was a gambler, and, you know, he owed so many people money, and Rob was like, yeah, that's probably how he died. That's probably how, you know, he got unalived. And basically, Judah was just sitting there like, yep. Probably. And I'm just like, ooh. This is why nobody likes you. Like, so annoying. And then eventually, you know, we have Tiff. And a segue to her. As I stated earlier, Emmett buys her a car because she sees that Emmett has a new car. And she's just like, where'd you get that? You know, I need a car for our son, you know. Throw that in there. And Emmett's just like, what about Rob? Like, isn't your business doing good? And she was just like, yeah, well, but, you know, I have your son and I need to get around. And he's like, okay, you know, I'll see what I can do. But, yeah, he ends up buying Tiff, like I said, the Nissan Altima, fresh off the lot. Thanks, let me add, thanks to Judah's broker. Thanks to Judah again. I'm like, Emmett, oh my gosh, these aren't favors. These is like, you belong to Judah now. you're in too deep. Like, you belong to him, basically. Like, it's like he owns you in his mind. So, moving on. Okay. So we also have Rashad and Deja. I love them too. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of cute couples. I'm just sad, like, they're all going through, like, drama and stuff, but that's typical. It happens. So we have Rashad and Deja, and they are living together now. Of course, Rashad, being Rashad, he keeps getting caught smoking in the house, and that just makes me laugh, because he's like, oh shoot, like, he always forgets or whatever, but, and then we have a few moments between them where it's yours versus ours. So initially, when Rashad got caught, he was just like, oh, I'm sorry, like, I forgot this is your house. And Deja has to remind him, like, oh, no, 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 it's our house. Like, it's not just my house, it's our house now. And he's just like, oh, yeah, I forgot. And then eventually, when, Deja comes home from work, she has to remind him, like, it's our house, because she, sees that he's not himself. And she kind of wants him to invite his, the guys over, have guy night, just hang out. And he's just like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that in your house. And she's like, oh my gosh, again, it's not my house, it's our house. Like, she wants him to be comfortable. So, with them, I think they're cute, different. I do laugh, though, because he wanted to watch Menace to Society, I think. And she was like, let's watch The Devil Wears Prada. And he was just like, yeah, like, okay, So I feel like she'll bring out a different side of him. I hope, because he was still all over Tiara's page, scrolling. And I'm like, you're with Deja now. I'm like, and Tiara's, with Marcus, so, don't do it. And so for me, I'm interested to see what's gonna happen with them this season, because, of course, Rashad feels, I don't know, he kind of like, he just has been reflecting, I would say, and just observing, like, everybody around him and how their lives are picking up. And since he's been, home, he's just like, he can't find a job, and he doesn't really want to rely on Deja or have that kind of, I guess, unequal balance between them, or like cause a rift, because she's working and she's doing so much. And so it kind of makes him feel a way about himself. And I kind of feel for him, because he was about to open up a little bit, but he kind of like backtracked. And I think that's really important. Oh my gosh, sorry, my throat's dry. I don't know why. It's just like so dry. Excuse me. Okay. I feel like that's something that a lot of people go through, especially men, with just like opening up and, trying to find a good space to do that in. Like, it's okay to open up and stuff, and having somebody to open up to, and not just be like, oh, I gotta toughen it out, or, shake it off, or whatever. So I think men's mental health is important, because you can see when Deja asks him, like, are you okay? Because you're not, you don't seem like yourself. And he's just kind of like, yeah, like, no, yeah. Mm-hmm. But you can see it's like him shaking it off, but he really feels away, especially because he's not around Darnell as much, because Jada and Darnell, they're newlyweds, they're still in that honeymoon phase, which is like a bright side to this episode. Some positivity there. And so, he can't hang with him as much because he's with Jada. Victor, he's going through his election, and so the only time he really got to see the guys was at Smokey's, but it was for like a brief second. And he did ask them, well, at least Darnell, about a job, but Darnell was like, he didn't have any gigs or anything, so that kind of made him feel like, dang, it's tough out here, like, that sucks. And then Victor is so busy with the election, it's like he doesn't get a chance to see him either, and it kind of sucks because I was like, dang, I would have thought like Rashad could have been somewhat helpful with the election some way, somehow, because Victor is his homeboy, like he knows him. So, like, Victor could have got Rashad something. Okay, Victor could have got Rashad something to do. But I don't know. So I kind of feel for Rashad, and I do hope things will get better and everything just kind of comes through for him. And moving on, Jake and Gemma, they're going strong still. They're doing good. Jake is selling merch out of his house, and Gemma's just kind of like helping him, but she doesn't work for him because they kind of joked like, he has to keep track of his inventory, and he needs a better system, and he's just like, I got you, and she was like, you're not paying me, and Jake's just like, yeah, I'm paying you in love, and they're all lovey-dovey, and she was just like, yeah, still doesn't cut it, nice try. So that was just kind of cute and funny, and I'm hopeful that they continue to have a good relationship this season, because they went through it last season, so hoping things are better for them. And then you have sweet Papa, still working at Smokies. Shout out to Papa. You have Papa, and he's interested in Kenya, his coworker, who is 19, so she's not really that much older. I don't know why everybody was freaking out about older woman, but she's only 19. So I think probably like 2 years at this moment from Papa. Probably not even that much off, because Papa's about to be 18. Literally. So, yeah, he's interested in her. And the great thing about that is that she likes this podcast. So, I'm like, all right, really, good start for Papa. Because Bakari was betting that he couldn't talk to her. He'd be too shy or whatever. And so it was nice to see that, she's pretty cool. Then we have Lene and Bakari. They're still going strong. It is super funny that they're able to joke about the fact that, I think it was last season, Bakari gave that note to Lene, thanks to Papa, of course. But, it's another couple that is still going strong. And, of course, I cannot ever leave out Kevin, because he's super dope, and I think it is awesome to see Kevin do what he said he was going to do, which was basically get his own place. And as a young adult, it is not easy, and he has, responsibilities now that he's learning about, and things that need to get paid, and priorities that need to be in order and checked. And so, I did laugh when he went grocery shopping when he got back home. He was like, look, I'm going back to my, Nina and Dre's. I'm going home. I'm going to go grocery shopping. I'm picking out the cabinets. I'm getting what I need. And I laugh because it reminds me of, like, when I was in college and I'd go home, like, oh, shoot, my mom had some snacks. Like, let me grab some snacks at the cabinet. Like, she has snacks in here. She got, she made me a home cooked meal. Like, that's what's up. So I was like, she has everything, because dorm life, that's a story for a different day. But yeah, dorm life was something else. So it's nice to see that Kevin, is on his own, is independent now. And I did laugh because, Dre was looking like, put that back. But Nina did end up letting him have it because, she did ask, like, you're more than welcome to come back home. And he was just like, I'm alright, like, I'm good. And so, yeah, he does end up, deciding, like, yeah, I'm gonna stay in my new place. I'm fine. The cool thing, though, is that he throws, a little kickback, a party. And, of course, at the party, Bakari, I like Bakari. I'm hoping that, his character doesn't go downhill either. But Bakari, he is, you know, kind of mocking Papa, making fun of Papa for being thirsty over Kenya. And again, you know, Myasia basically tells Papa, like, don't listen to him, you know. It's it's Bakari, you know, and then, you know, like I said, Lene and Bakari laugh. I have a moment because Lene brings up the note that Bakari gave her, and again, she credited Papa, like, thanks to Papa, we wouldn't be together. Like, if it wasn't for Papa and for him writing the note, because you can't write in cursive, and like Papa said, you only gave me like 2 words. I did did most of the work. So I thought that was hilarious. And, you know, eventually Kevin comes over and he starts talking to Papa, and he's just like, hey, like, who's that? And, you know, Papa's like, oh, it's Kenya. And then Bakari chimed in again and basically tells, you know, everybody, like, you know, she's older than him, but she's 19. And so Myasia was just like, since when are you into older women? And Papa basically was like, you never had time for me. So then that kind of was just a little bit awkward. And then Kevin was like, look, this is a kickback. It's chill. We're not doing that. Like, everybody calm down. Just relax. Like, enjoy yourself. Of course, here comes Gemma. She just had to say something about, you know, I'm glad I'm not single, da da da. And Kevin was like, hold up. You weren't single when we were together. And yet, you ended up with Jake. So, and then at that point, Papa chimed in. I'm like, everybody was just ching, 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 chiming in, okay. At that point, Papa chimes in, and he's just basically like, honestly, like, the past is always in your present. And that made me feel like that was just a point to think about. Especially with this show, especially with this episode, how different people were just popping up and different emotions were being pulled out of everybody. Like I mentioned earlier, whether you had Keisha seeing Nuck and now Nuck is around Emmett, it's just like, that's awkward, and she doesn't like that, let alone does she like Duda. It's just like, come on now. If not only that, you know, you have the friend group, but it's just like everybody was either talking to one another, and as you see later in the episode, eventually, you know, as Kevin and Myasia are cleaning up, they ended up sharing a kiss, and so it's just like, I mean, she was with Kevin first, but then she was with Papa, and then now are we going to rekindle this? Like, where are we going to go with this? How is that going to affect the friend group? And then you have, you know, the whole situation, even though that Jake and Gemma had forgiven Bakari, but he's still involved in the group too, so it's just like, whew, the past is just showing up everywhere, you know? And if not only that, it's just so many different things. And I did laugh about earlier when Darnell and Jada were together, and Darnell was talking about being replaced, or Jada better not replace him with a younger, buff Jughead, and talking about Swaby. So I thought that was hilarious because, you know, it's like, that's her past. So it's interesting to see how the past, if it may happen, because I mean, we already have seen it in this episode, how it will kind of creep in throughout the course of this season. Like, what's going to happen, where things are going to keep coming up, throughout this season. And, you know, I'm kind of hoping and wishing that Emmett has some kind of character development, because I thought he was doing good until he came across Duda, and it just went downhill, because he's been making a lot of stupid decisions, and I'm hoping that does not come back to bite him in the behind. Because as we know, like I said, him and Keisha kind of get into it about the fact that he bought Tiff a car and didn't discuss it, and they can't talk, and they just were going at it pretty much this whole episode. And like I said earlier, he went and basically told Duda that And it's just like, oh my gosh. And during that moment, Doodah snaps on him. And so I'm like, if someone, I don't know the quote word for word, but I think they're like, if someone shows you who they are, like the first time, believe them. Okay, because I'm like, Emmett, one, you were scared when Doodah was standing outside your home as you were walking. You were scared when Nuck gave you the gun to hold. Um, and then you were kind of like scoping out the scene after Nuck, and I think his name was. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I had it. Or like I wrote it down somewhere. Sorry. No, that's not even it. He was scared when Zay, that's his name. I'm sorry, y'all. I like wrote it down, but he was scared when Zay and well, he was not scared, but he was like scoping out the scene. When he was sitting next to Zay, and they were, learning from Doodah about how to smoke a cigar and all that good stuff. And after Zay and Nuck came from the chop shop after basically boosting that car for Doodah, he was kind of scoping out the scene then. And I'm like, Doodah keeps putting in your face, like, the type of person he is, but because he's investing and doing all these nice gestures for you or whatever, you're just kind of blindsided by it, or you just don't want to address it. And yeah, it's kind of like when he was around Brandon. I think he was testing Brandon too to see like what he would do or how he would respond. No different from Reg. I can't remember if that's season 1 or season 2 or whatever season it was. When I forgot what happened, I think he found out that the cop raided the stash house or whatever, and basically like Reg was scared. Okay, Reg was just looking like, and Doodah was not playing with him. As you can see how that scene had unfolded, and all the different countless number of times where Reg was scared being around Doodah, but Doodah showed him who he was. It's the same with Emmett. Like, no matter how many gestures he does for him and different things like that, once Doodah snapped, I think that probably wouldn't have been it for me, but a lot of things have been it for me with Doodah, but just the fact that he snapped on him and he was like, well, you need to join the winning team and come over to this side. I'm like, Emmett, the grass is not greener, sweetheart. The grass is not greener, okay? It's not, because you don't know about Doodah. Like that guy said in that video, the more you mess around, the more you're going to find out, okay? And so I'm just like, Emmett, I need Darnell to just yank him back. Like, yank him back, reel his son back in, because I'm really nervous for him. I really am. Because once he snapped, after that, he tried to get back, he gained his composure back, and then Emmett was just sitting there like, I'm like, and then he ends up unaliving Dev, because Dev, who was sitting behind Emmett, was chewing loudly. Doodah told him to stop. He told him he wasn't chewing loudly, so he got smart. That's strike 1. Basically, talk back, And then strike 2 was he didn't stop chewing loudly. So, Doodah's not one to be embarrassed. So, of course, he gets up and he unalives Dev. And, Zay and Nuck, they end up cleaning it up. And Bakari was even sitting there like, but I'm like, Bakari's just way too deep into, but he was also sitting there like, what did I get myself into? Because Emmett kept looking over at him like, but I'm like, Emmett, yes, he saw that. He sitting right next to the guy, like, he saw. I'm like, all y'all saw. Like, because he was looking at him like, did you see that? Or like, and then at that point, Doodah turns to him and was like, all right, see you later, have a good night, and, get home safe. And I'm just like, I'm like, I wish, Emmett knew about everybody's story besides just Brandon and Reg. Because I'm like, he did it with Jake. Jake found out when, he had Jake for that moment. Doodah did, because he even scared Jake. And Jake ended up running to Victor. So it's just like, he thought he was good and in good hands with Duda, and I'm just like, Duda is just not a good person, and I can really see throughout this episode Duda stirring the pot, especially with Emmett and the women in his life, with Keisha and Tiff, and then his relationship with Rob, because I didn't think they ever had any bad like a rift between them. I think they just had a mutual understanding, like you're over here, I'm over there, we cool. And they did. That's the crazy thing, is that they just patched things up like last season, when they went to EJ's school, and Robin, and Emmett had that little sit down with in the same way that Tiff and Keisha had that sit down. So, and they talked. So it's just like, please do not let Duda come in and stir the pot and get you guys all worked up and wreak havoc and basically ruin everything. So after that, fast forwarding, you have the girls get together, the women get together, and have, their usual sit down, their talk, the friends, Dre, Nina, Jada, and Tracy. And it was nice to see Tracy this episode as well. And of course, Tracy's just like, she's over it. She's over dating, but she's like, well, not really. Like, she's done, but she's still just more so, like, gonna focus on herself now. And it's interesting to see, like, everybody's different perspectives. So Jada's like, yeah, I'm married now. And, I don't want you to go out alone. Basically, I think you should just not say that you're done. I think you should keep trying. Dre's basically like, dating is, an eye-opener, because your partner is like a mirror for you, where they get to expose basically who you are. Your true self kind of comes out. And so, Tracy's just taking it all in. Nina's giving her input. And so she's just basically like, look, I'm going to keep trying, I guess. But at the moment, I'm going to focus on me. And why, when she said that, here comes Duda. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, Duda, ooh, he got on my nerve this episode. And I feel like he's just going to get on my nerve the whole season. Because here he comes. Talk Tracy right out her panties. And left her high and dry in the morning. And it took her to watch Eartha Kitt video, which I love Eartha Kitt. I love her. To watch an Eartha Kitt video to really realize, like, okay, not again. I cannot do this again. I need to be focused and, know these things when it comes to love, when it comes to relationships, that it needs to be earned, and, like, no compromising. And so, basically she needs to do it on her own terms when she's ready and when it's right. So I'm interested to see how this season will go. I'm interested to see, what's going to happen with Tracy. Duda. That's how I feel, honestly. And everybody can just leave your comments about what your thoughts were for this episode. I'm excited that, that some of the couples are still going strong. And I'm hoping that the other couples that are not going so strong right now and are having their ups and downs, which are usual, that they figure it out. I'm hoping, like I said, Darnell kind of reels Emmett in and he gets his stuff together, because he's pissing me off. I'm like, come on now. Like, if I could just smack him upside the back of his neck, like, come on, give me your neck, because what are you doing? Like, seriously, I'm interested also to see how everything will go with Victor, since he has won the election, and just kind of like, okay, he's left the street life behind, not Trey, he's Victor now. Like, I'm interested to see what's gonna happen, and how, his character, the character development with him, and Keisha, of course, Tiff, and Rob, and yeah, it's a lot of characters that I am super, like, nervous for. this season, and Emmett's one of them. Rob is another, because I'm like, y'all tension with Douda and this like power struggle with Douda, because Douda is like, hey, it's just he couldn't, run things politically, so he's back on the streets, being Douda. He's taking unalived Quincy, taking him out or whatever, and Rob doesn't know that, so I'm interested if that information does get out, or if Douda's just going to be blunt and tell him himself what, happened between him and Quincy, how that is going to unfold, and hopefully nothing, happens between Tiff and Rob, hopefully they stay on the same page. So I'm a little bit concerned for Rashad, Emmett, Rob. Okay, Rashad, Emmett. I'm definitely concerned about Rashad. I forgot to mention that too. I'm concerned about Rashad, Rob, and Emmett right now. They're like my top three that I'm just like sorry. And Bakari. They're like ding 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 going off when I was watching this episode. Like ooh. Like anything could happen to anybody, but those four were like my top. I don't know. Like I'm so nervous for them in this season, and I'm just hoping nothing happens that's crazy, because oh my gosh, like I don't know. But so far I don't think I left anything out. Sorry about my voice. It's really dry. My throat's dry. I need to drink some tea. But I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. Please be sure to do me a favor to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I will try to get my videos out either Friday or Saturday, because I have the Showtime app, which I might switch to Paramount. Either way, but I'm gonna try to get my videos out Friday or Saturday. Most likely Saturday. But yeah, so please be sure to tune in. I would greatly appreciate it. This is my first time ever doing videos, so I'm probably was really wordy, and this video already looks like it's over 50 minutes long. So but yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and again, my name is Desiree. Welcome to my channel. I will have more videos on the way, and please be sure to just tell me any other videos that you would like to see. And again, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and definitely leave some comments below on your thoughts and opinions on the show, or just anything you'd like to say. Bye.